Yeah. Let me begin with the most important thing. My friend of 30 years, Dennis Prager, has taken a fall and suffered a very serious injury. He has posted about it, or Alan did, at the Prager account on X. On Tuesday morning, PragerU founder and our dear friend Dennis Prager suffered a serious back injury following a fall. He's resting in a local Los Angeles hospital as doctors assess treatment options. We will keep you informed of his condition. In the meantime, Dennis welcomes the healing power of your prayers. So please, please do lift up Dennis in your prayers, to lift up Sue, lift up his children and his grandchildren, lift up Alan and everybody at PragerU and all of his friends. I'm deeply upset by this because Dennis is a force of nature, and if anyone can recover from a serious injury, it's Dennis. But I called in the big guns last night, texted Archbishop Chaput, and I said, okay. I texted all my friends, just pray for Dennis, because God is a good God. Dennis believes in him. Done a lot of good work on behalf of God over the last 30 years, 40 probably. My lovely wife we had visitors from law school in town for the Federalist Society, and as she was going out the door, I said, I read Dennis's Exodus book every day. And it's sort of, Dennis is part of the family, part of your family too, if you listen to the Dennis Prager Show. So pray for him, pray for Sue, his children, grandchildren, Alan, the entire team. To the news of the day. I have no opinion on Tulsi Gabbard. I am assured by Lindsey Graham that she's smart and earnest and hardworking. The hearings, I trust the Senate. I have lots of opinions on Matt Gaetz, and you've heard me express them here for a long time. Kevin McCarthy has been my friend for 35 years, longer than I've known Dennis Prager. And Kevin McCarthy was ousted from the speakership because of Matt Gaetz. And I do not believe Matt Gaetz is responsible, and I don't think he should be near the fifth floor of the Department of Justice, and I trust the Senate. I do remind he's resigned from the House. Donald Trump could be playing 4D chess here because Matt Gaetz wanted to end the ethics investigation in the House. They lose jurisdiction when a member resigns, so that proceeding is closed, but their paper isn't closed, and that goes to the Senate Judiciary Committee. The FBI opens a full field background investigation of Matt Gaetz, and Matt Gaetz has to testify for as long as the Senate Judiciary Committee wants, and all of that is under oath, subject to the penalties of 18 U.S.C. 1001. And so if he lies during the course of that hearing, it's a felony. If he doesn't lie, he's going to have to persuade people that everything that's been said about him, and I'm not going to repeat it here because I don't produce, I'm not interested in rumors and innuendos and reports and gossip. All I know is he destroyed the Republican coalition and is often irresponsible and erratic. Not what I want in an attorney general. I'm a veteran in DOJ. Spent most of my time there for William French Smith, a couple of months with Ed Meese before I went to the White House counsel's office, and it's not what the Department of Justice needs. They needed Radcliffe, who went to the CIA, and I knew that Director Radcliffe wanted the CIA and not justice. He told me that. And I know that there are a lot of people who could do that. Ambassador O'Brien could be brought in for a year. Ambassador A.B. Culverhouse both worked for Trump. There are a lot of Trump loyalists. Matt Whitaker is around. You can find a lot of people to run justice. It might be the proverbial 4D chess that people joke about, because Matt Gaetz resigned from the House in order to close. So he's gone. No office, no staff. There'll be 2 special elections in Florida, one for Michael Waltz, one for Matt Gaetz. But I just trust the Senate. Our Constitution is very strong. I trust the Senate. I do not believe he will be confirmed. The only downside to this is it's a circus. And the president-elect had a winning streak going, the hot hand at the table. Everything was going great. In fact, I was on with Dana Perino and Bill Hemmer yesterday, Trey Gowdy, Josh Kraushaar, cut number 16 as Donald Trump returned to town.
Hugh, would love your historical perspective here. Well, I worked for Richard Nixon out of college, Dana, and up until this moment, Richard Nixon was the greatest political comeback story in American political history. Now Donald Trump is the greatest political comeback story in American political history because Richard Nixon was never shot in the head. And so I think we are witnessing history today, and it's going to continue to unfold. Very happy with the rapid rollout of the team across all the different silos. More will be coming, no doubt, in short order. Good campaign, great transition, hopefully an extraordinarily successful second term for Donald Trump.
We went on, cut number 17.
Hugh, I was thinking with Carl about a half an hour ago about what Trump learned from the first time around and whether or not they can make him more experienced and a better commander-in-chief and perhaps maybe a better manager of the U.S. government along the way. He had a noticeable disdain for the intelligence community the first time around. I don't know how much you've thought about that going into a second term now, 4 years removed, but what comes to mind, do you think, when you look at some of the appointments and maybe how he's carving his way through that part of the U.S. government?
First thing that comes to mind, Bill, is he's not going to sit down with the equivalent to Jim Comey, Jim Clapper, and John Brennan and get ambushed again, which destroyed a lot of the momentum in the first term and led to the Mueller investigation and the Russia stuff. I think he has done, I got to disclose, my son works for Mike Waltz, so I've got to put that on the table whenever I talk about this. By bringing Waltz into the NSA job, National Security Advisor job, by bringing J.D. Vance into the vice presidency, he has pipelines right back to the Senate and to the House, which are effective. They're very, very well-respected members of those bodies. J.D. Vance is in the leadership vote this morning. Mike Waltz was in the leadership vote this morning. His whole team, including Pete Hegseth, and I hope we get to that because I've got smoke coming out of my ears listening to some of these elite snobs in the Beltway saying Pete Hegseth can't be Department of Defense Secretary.
Okay, then the president showed up, so we cut away to that. Then we came back. Cut number 18.
Go ahead, Hugh, and finish your thought.
I'm just going to say the personal satisfaction here has got to be extraordinary. But John Ratcliffe at the CIA and said to be Marco Rubio at State Department, Elise Stefanik is a brilliant person to lead the West and voice America's concerns at the UN. Susie Wiles is liked by, I don't know her very well, talked to her once, liked by everybody. I just think he's put together a top-tier national security team, and I hope the economic team, and I hope Pete Hegseth gets the fair hearing he deserves, because anyone who reads his book, War on Warriors, will know he knows what he's talking about on DOD.
Cut number 19.
And Hugh Hewitt, if you want to, we'll give you a chance here. You want to talk a little bit more about some of the picks on the national security side. We've mentioned them, but Pete Hegseth, you flagged for wanting to have a chance to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, because Pete Hegseth got slandered by a bunch of people on X last night. And, you know, he's won 2 Bronze Stars in Iraq and Afghanistan. He's written a number of very good books about the military. He is competent and he is eloquent, something you said, Dana. The ability to communicate is so essential to effective governance. I want to pick up on something that Trey mentioned. You get 2 big swings, 2 budget reconciliation cycles. I hope the president-elect tells both bodies, I want a lot done in the budget and the reconciliation. I want it done fast. When Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy bring back a blueprint for consolidating and streamlining government, I want that in the second budget and reconciliation. EPA ought to be at Interior. The Army Corps of Engineers should not be screwing up people's ability to build houses and buildings. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service should be collapsed and given to the state. There's a lot they can do. It will have to be in the second budget reconciliation. But the Trump tax package and things like zeroing out NPR and the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, that's got to be in the first one. It ought to be in the first 100 days.
I did write at length about the budget reconciliation process yesterday, and I submitted it. Now, Gaetz is a bump in the road. I'm not happy about that, but you can't bet 1,000. And it might be 4D chess. He's out of the House. He might be out of our hair forever. He wants to run for governor of Florida anyway. And that's up to Florida if he gets the nomination. I think I'm for the Democrat. That would be a first. I'm just here to tell you, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on Matt Gaetz. I'm going to play for you some clips in the next segment or later in the program. The early reaction from the senators confirms what I think. He won't be confirmed, so I'm just not going to waste a lot of time on it. Tulsi Gabbard, I got an open mind. I just don't know. She met with Assad. Ever since then, I haven't much paid attention to her. She's a Democrat. I don't spend my time on Democrats. I do think that the budget reconciliation package. Congratulations to John Thune. Thanks to John Kernan and Rick Scott for offering to serve even more than they already do. John Thune will be a great majority leader succeeding Mitch McConnell, and I believe the Senate will do its job. I have great faith in the Constitution of the United States. That's why I teach constitutional law.